Hello everyone, this is Thomas Daka Tariq Mawok, Senior English and French teacher, professional translator and author of the book entitled De la sémantique à la traduction, une approche sémantico-morphosyntaxique de la traduction. In this video, we are going to discuss semantics and stylistic in translation studies. Well, the question that we ask here is what makes translation truly great or successful? What makes translation great or successful? Is it semantics, that is accuracy, or stylistic, fluency? Is it accuracy or fluency? What of the two makes translation successful? Today, I want to share with you a fundamental insight into translation studies, the semantic and stylistic paradigm. Interestingly, meaning and beauty go hand in hand in translation studies. They are inseparable. We cannot divorce semantics from stylistic. We cannot divorce content from form. So, translation entails a two-step process. First, we grasp the meaning. We read the text, understand it, grasp the meaning. Then we polish it. We polish the style. So what we do in translation is that, as I said, it is a two-step procedure where in the first step, we understand the text, we grasp the meaning, and the second step is that we polish the style when rephrasing or when transferring meaning. So semantic and stylistic do not operate separately. They stand shoulder to shoulder. They intertwine, they dance together, and this is what makes language meaningful. So in my book entitled De la sémantique à la traduction, I actually developed what I call the semantic and morphosyntactic approach to translation, which is a framework that places semantic precision and stylistic excellence at the center of the translation process. So this approach is actually based on three fundamental principles, among which, the first of this principle is that context is king. Context is all in all. Context is the point of departure of everything, because in utterances or in discursive production, context is actually the point of departure. Every word draws its first meaning from its textual environment, its cultural setting, its communicative purposes, and fundamentally, decontextualized translation is simply dead. So if you translate without taking into account the context, then your translation is dead. So we should not decontextualize translation. Translation is actually context bound. So as I said, the first principle in my semantic and morphosyntactic approach to translation is that context is all in all. Context is king. Context is the point of departure. And the second point is that meaning governs structure. Why do we say meaning governs structure? We say meaning governs structure because syntax is not autonomous. Syntax actually hinges upon semantics. So, in order to put differently, semantics govern syntax. The meaning takes the meaning is actually what commands the structure. It's not the reverse. Because if we say the structure command the meaning, then it means that we are going to delve into formal correspondence, which is not a translation technique, which is simply a method of contrastive analysis. So in my second point, I talk about meaning in terms of how it governs structure. So the structure depends on meaning, and morphosyntax, which is the grammatical architecture of language, must bend to semantic purposes, whether it is translation or simply a simple utterance. Semantics govern structure because the meaning takes precedence over the form. We think before we write, and when we write, we actually produce the form. So, as I said, morphosyntax, which is the grammatical architecture of language, bent to semantic purposes, because we translate ideas, we don't translate sentence pattern, we don't translate sentence structure. That said, we come to the third point of my principle that I mentioned earlier. The third principle is that style is a powerful ingredient when it comes to discourse. Stylistic choices are not decorative. They are not simple tools. They play a tremendous role in shaping meaning. So stylistic choices are not decorative, as I put it. They are semantics. The way we say something is part of what we say, and actually affect how that message is going to be received. So what we say is, if we say it well, then it will be well understood, it will be memorable, it will be retained. But if we put it in a dirty way, then the audience may not be interested, the audience may not retain what we are saying. So what we say here is that literal translation is not appropriate, even if it is correct. Even if it is correct, it is not appropriate because what we are translating is not the word. If we translate word, then everybody with a dictionary, a bilingual dictionary, can do the job. However, that's not the case. And we can ask this question: why is semantic? Is it? Can we say that semantic alone is enough in translation studies? That is, if we simply understand and we rephrase in the target language, can we say it is sufficient? The answer is obviously no, because semantic cannot stand alone. As I put it at the beginning of this video, semantic and stylistic actually go hand in hand. They stand shoulder to shoulder, because the idea we put across will not be retained because of, the idea we put across will not be retained because we have expressed it. It will be retained in terms of how it has been expressed, and this is what is fundamental here. If we take this, I will take this short example. If we consider this English sentence, we say, there is a long waiting line at the theater. There is a long waiting line at the theater. Well, a purely semantic translation into French might give us this literal translation: il y a une longue file d'attente au théâtre. However, if we make the right choice, if we choose the best expression or the best word, if we choose the best stylistic ingredient, we are going to have this other translation: une longue file d'attente serpente devant le théâtre. Une longue file d'attente serpente devant le théâtre. For the sentence, there is a long waiting line at the center. Now, notice the difference. When you say, in the first literal translation that we suggested, when we say, il y a une longue file d'attente au théâtre, the message is understood. However, we understand that the translator has actually produced a literal translation, which can be done by everybody. Even uh, machine translation can give us this type of translation. But when we look at the other example, which have been reshaped, we have been rekindled in terms of good stylistic choices, we have une longue file d'attente serpente devant le théâtre. When we examine this second example, we have the verb serpenter. And this verb this verb doesn't just convey the information that we are actually producing. The verb creates an image. It evokes movement. It brings the scene to life. Because when we say serpenter, we have the impression that this is like a snake. This gives us the image of snake. And we are trying to compare the snake to the queue, that means the people who are waiting in front of the theater. So this is where stylistic elevate mere accuracy into genuine communication, because it creates image. So in translation, we are not simply reproducing words. In order for us to capture the audience attention, we need to make sure that what we write, what we produce, can be memorable. And for it to be memorable, we need to look for the right words. We need to look for the best construction, the best choice. And sometimes we have to create images that can easily be memorized or easily understood by the audience. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what makes translation a particular exercise which everybody cannot do. Even if you know two languages, that doesn't mean you can translate. Translating has to do with choosing the right pattern, the right structure, the right word, and possibly creating images, because style is not decorative. Style has a significant amount of impact on the receiver. And if your message is well put, then you are going to persuade. But if the message is poorly put, then you are just making your conversation boring. So we are saying that in this video, we need to understand that both semantic and stylistic go hand in hand in translation. So when we translate, we have to make sure that the final ingredient that we have is appropriate. The final wording is appropriate. So, as I said, as per the semantic and morphosyntactic approach to translation that I developed in my book, we have three principles. Context is king, meaning governs structure, and more importantly, style is not decorative. Style is persuasive. That's why we have to choose the right word, the right formulation to convince, to attract, to sound natural, because literal translation does not sound natural. However, we need to enhance naturalness in translation in order to get the audience understand what we are saying. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of this video. I hope you enjoy it. If so, please share your comment on the comment section below, and feel free to get in touch with me by checking my contact details under the description below. I hope this has been a good video for you, and make sure you subscribe to my channel and get in touch with me in case you have any observation or any question. As I said, the book I wrote is entitled De la sémantique à la traduction, une approche sémantico-morphosyntaxique de la traduction. Let me show you the book. This is actually the book I am talking about. This book was published in France last May 2025. and you can get it from Amazon, or you get in touch with the publisher. They will give you all the details to have the book. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.